I love that professional sports take more of the wrestling entertainment. I wish they would do more of it. It's so
But you know
good.
it's college. It's not supposed to be professional. The
Yeah,
student
but
athletes.
oh yeah, but this is for our entertainment.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, my captain for life, Will Cotton. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You see the scene. I'm living
Oh,
great right now.
yes, indeed. So, on today's Throwdown Thursday edition, we're going to go around the territories, talk about all the hot things going on in college, and talk about my bad opening week 0 picks. So let's get started going around the territories. ACC, it's not over yet. For Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Stay tuned for notes. They still want them. We'll talk briefly about it in segment 2 and top 25. Florida State's 8, Clemson 9, and UNC number 21. And again, we will talk about some of these teams in segment 3 strictly for entertainment purposes only. In the American, Navy got thumped by Notre Dame, and I'll take the L. More on this a little later, unfortunately. And coming into the top 25 as we start week 1, Tulane, Will. In terms of the Big 12, did you hear, Will, that Brett Yormick openly rooted for Texas Tech to beat Texas on the way out the door? Is that petty or is that business as usual?
Petty, for sure, petty. But I
How are you
love it.
going to
I
be the
love it.
conference commissioner saying, I'm not putting pressure on you, but I'm going to be in Austin for Thanksgiving, okay? And you better
Yep.
take care of business. What is that? What's that?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, I love that professional sports take more of the wrestling entertainment. I wish they would do more of it. It's so
But you know
good.
it's college. It's not supposed to be professional. The
Yeah,
student
but
athletes.
oh yeah, but this is for our entertainment. This is for our entertainment. This is good.
All right. So top 25, Texas, number 11. Kansas State 16, TCU 17, and Oklahoma 20. Big Ten. So Michigan announced that Jim Harbaugh is going to keep the suspension, even though they're beefing with the NCAA. Jim Harbaugh will have rotating coaches, including his dad. Um, this should be interesting in the offseason, but we'll let it go until then. So, in terms of top programs in the Big Ten, Michigan's number 2, Ohio State's number 3, Penn State's number 7, Wisconsin's 19, and Iowa for the last season will be in the top 25, and they're 25. So let's get to the HBCUs. Jackson State, they beat South Carolina State quite
Hmm.
handily, I might add. So congratulations to them. Um, and Buddy Pugh, longtime coach of South Carolina State, will retire at the end of the season. He's been in South Carolina State 22 years, so shout out to them. Group
Congratulations.
of Yeah, absolutely. Group of 5. Won't be talking a lot about them right now in this segment, but let's just say UMass snapped a 24 game road losing streak. And unfortunately, it was against New Mexico State. So we're going to move on. And congratulations to San Diego State for beating Ohio from the MAC. But hey, San Diego State, where were your fans? How can you talk about being a Power Five school and you can't sell out your home opener? That was a bad look. I don't know if you saw the empty seats in their
Oh, I saw.
brand
Yeah, I
new
did see.
stadium.
Yep, yep,
But come
yep.
on, man, we trying to root for you, and
They
that's not
they
going to
kept
help.
him out. They kept him out. They said, "We don't sit on the on the nice seats just yet.
All right.
The
Uh,
paint's still wet. Don't sit on that."
and for our independents, Notre Dame again drubbed Navy in Dublin. Thank you, sir. May I have another? But let's just say you didn't score enough points, but more on that later. Pac 12, San Jose State versus USC. Hey, USC, your defense sucks. It was 21 to
Oh my goodness.
14 at halftime against San Jose State.
Yeah.
Yeah, your trip might not be that long, but again, in the top 25, USC is 6th, Washington's 10th. Utah's 14, Oregon's 15, and Oregon State is 18. And in the SEC, hey, Vanderbilt, congratulations on the win, but how did Hawaii put up 28 on you? What are you going to do
Again.
when you play people? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
not good. Okay. So Georgia's number one, Alabama's number four, LSU number five, Tennessee's 12, Ole Miss 22, and Texas A&M 23. So now, Will, we are on to week one. And with that, we'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in advocating for student athlete, academic, and athletic needs. Through academic and athletic enrichment, the CKA SAVE Project is on the forefront of the issues facing 21st century student athletes. As student athletes continue to struggle to find a better balance between academic and athletic success, the CKA SAVE Project offers academic and athletic services to support student athlete academic success, including academic skills assessment, academic and athletic consulting, academic monitoring, academic and athletic workshops. For more information or to schedule a free consultation, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment two, I want to spend a little extended time with the fact that this could happen, Will. The ACC really is having another dive talking to Stanford, Cal, and SMU. According to media sources from last week, a series of meetings were held to further vet what we can do if you're the ACC with Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Uh, you need 12 out of 15 votes, and we told you who the four votes that were holding it up was. You just need one of these schools to say yes. North Carolina, North Carolina State, Clemson, and Florida State. A timeline for a potential decision is fluid. So let's look at the money. All three schools, if they came in, would take a pay cut. The ACC television contract, which we have long talked about, runs through 2036. Florida State is mad. They're pissed and they're ready to go. And they're not doing anything this year, but there's always next year. And maybe those other four schools will go with them. All right, Will, you're my regular guy. What are you thinking, man?
Man, the ACC. You ever go school shopping with your mom and she give you two bad options? Like, hey, you want this shirt or this shirt? You're like, man, both shirts are terrible. And that's what the ACC keeps doing. They coming up with these shirts. You're like, oh, ho, 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 Stanford, whoa, Cal. And I'm like, man, you ain't moving the needle for me. I ain't, shoot, I'm gonna get stuff done in the morning if y'all talking about Cal versus Maryland. I ain't gonna be watching after
No,
that.
man. Remember, Maryland's in the Big Ten. It will be
Oh
Cal
yeah,
versus
then
Virginia.
uh, oh yeah,
Cal
even
versus
less. Oh,
Boston
even less. Oh,
College.
even less so. Even less so. I'm just
Cal versus Syracuse. I think Syracuse is in the ACC.
nah. I mean, it's good. And now if you're a gambler, then maybe. But if you're like a just someone who
Wake
enjoys the
Forest
game,
versus Stanford does not move your meter.
does not. I would not. I would have a tea time with my niece. I
Okay.
wouldn't break that with my niece for that.
All
But
right.
yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's. I won't be watching a lot of ACC football this year. I'll tell you
Okay.
that.
All right. So Oregon State and Washington State, we have not forgotten you. Okay. The word on the street is they're being told to wait till Labor Day to make their decision. Um, if not longer, according to media sources. The American commissioner, Mike Oresco, is expected to engage with both schools by Zoom this coming week. An in person meeting to both campuses is expected soon. The Mountain West is interested. The American Conference is interested. Washington State and Oregon State again are being advised not to make a decision until a clear revenue stream is acquired, and maybe there's still a hope that they can hold on to the Pac-12. If you're advised in Oregon State and Washington State, what do you tell them to do? Because you really just need a home for 1 year, and then maybe you can bring people to you. I don't know. What do you think, Will?
Just be patient. Just be patient. Whenever you make these decisions, from like you make them quickly or too rushed, it always falls in people's face. They fall on their face with these questions. So Oregon, you have a great brand. You
Oregon
know, you
State.
Oregon State, yeah. I mean, Oregon State, you have a good
Okay.
brand too. I mean, people watch in the area. Oregon. Just be patient. Be patient. There's no reason to rush. I mean, again, you're not gonna move the needle. No one's. Oh crap! Hey man, I gotta get home and watch this Oregon State game. Nobody does that. So just be patient, man, and more money could come to you if you just play your cards and just relax.
All right. So the Big Ten is getting serious about betting. The Big Ten announced last week that it will institute a game day player availability report to all teams. And it will be all teams are responsible for submitting their injury reports at least 2 hours before kickoff. The Big Ten also revealed that it is partnered with U.S. Integrity to, quote, enhance monitoring efforts and provide additional educational resources to help prevent student athletes, coaches, and staff from engaging in prohibited sports wagering. The Big Ten will distribute player availability reports on its website and on social media. You also know, Will, that Iowa has had some problems this past off season with sports betting. So again, it looks like the Big Ten is being proactive, not reactive. Any thoughts before we close the segment?
Uh, Transparency is what you got to do. You see an issue, people say, well, we're going to do this. And then everyone can kind of like says, okay, well, they handled it. Like you said, I'd rather be proactive than reactive. So again, I don't know how many people are going to take advantage of those resources, but it's good that they're doing something because they can't let it get crazy and people start, talking, and that's what they don't want. So
All right. So, fans, in segment three, I had a bad week zero. We'll be right back to talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only on the Coaches Podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment three. You're reminded of why it's called week zero. But before we get to that, preseason top five, just want to remind our fans, the OCP has Georgia at number one from the SEC, Michigan number two from the Big Ten, Ohio State number three from the Big Ten, Alabama from the SEC at number four, and Tulane is the best group of five school, and that's who we will always put at five because the best group of five school goes to the Cotton Bowl. So they're stealing somebody's vote. They're stealing something. So we're going to talk about them all year. On the outside looking in, I'm going to leave them in because they won, but USC from the Pac-12, your defense stinks. And if you think you're going to go and be a part of the top four this year, good luck with that. Clemson from the ACC, Oklahoma from the Big 12, Texas from the Big 12, TCU from the Big 12. And in terms of the group of five, UTSA from the American Conference. Keep an eye on them. Again, our focus all season is the top five college football playoffs and major bowl games. In terms of season-long bets, I've got Clemson over 9.5. That was made on FanDuel. Tulane over 9 was on MGM. They gave me a good number. Maryland over 7.5. That was MGM. Texas over 9.5. MGM. Troy over 8. MGM. Notre Dame over 8.5 MGM, and they're 1-0. So now we just need to keep this thing going. Utah 8.5 MGM and Tennessee over 9 MGM. I think FanDuel had it at something else, and I didn't like that number. So let's talk about the bets themselves. Last week, no games. This week, I was 0-5. Let's go through it. I don't hide from nobody. UTEP lost to Jacksonville State. That shouldn't have happened. It did. What can I do about it? Navy over 49 and a half. No, they didn't get it. Derek, I should have started with my own defense things, but I'm listening to Will, and look what it gets me. All right. So Notre Dame played defense, Will. It's all fun. I had UTEP -1, New Mexico State -6.5, and told you about UMass and its historic victory. Eh, three played New Mexico State, San Diego State, and Notre Dame. Uh, Nobody covered except San Diego State with the win.
Yep.
So no, actually, wait a second. That was three-play money line. Notre Dame, San Diego State handled their business. New Mexico State lost. That's what the gimmick was. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
in terms of bets of the week, I always like to do an upset. There was no like outright upset. So I took Navy 20.5 to kind of hang around against Notre Dame. And that's why it's called week 0. But I stand by my picks. Will, did you do anything for strictly entertainment purposes only on week 0?
I took a couple props. Some didn't hit though. I did take the over 304 yards for Caleb Williams. He did not hit, but he did hit my touchdown. So I did 3 touchdowns for him. He had 4. Um, but that defense could not do anything. So it was hard for me to kind of. I'm like, 30 points, So, but I did a couple things, nothing too crazy. I wanted to do something for Notre Dame. Um, but just forgot what time the game was. And then by the time I was watching it, it was like, it was already like 30-0. And I was like, maybe I get like a half, second half bet and fell asleep. And the good thing I didn't because nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
So, I
And
could have,
fans, for you to hear us talk, that's why it's strictly for entertainment purposes only. You don't see nothing about the mortgage, the kids' college fund. You see,
nothing.
I went to sleep. I forgot. It's week 0.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo. So let's get to week 1 notable games. UNC, South Carolina, that's a notable game. West Virginia, Penn State. UTSA versus Houston. Let's see if UTSA can come
Yeah.
out with a bang. Towson, Maryland. Tennessee State versus Notre Dame. I like that game because Notre Dame has invited Tennessee State to get some of that spotlight. Colorado, TCU, they're going to run it up
Mm.
bad on Coach Prime, man. This ain't going to be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Right? It's going to be bad. Okay.
It's gonna be ugly.
Virginia versus Tennessee, and East Carolina versus Michigan. The East Carolina fan base online has been going kind of nuts about what they think ECU is. So we'll check them out. Follow all of the picks on at Odd Coaches Podcast on social media. So it's at Odd Coaches. Myself is at CKA Save Project. And Will, you change yours like every week. What is it this week? If people want to
Uh,
follow you.
I think it's the William Cotton or the Will Cotton
All
at the
right.
Will Cotton.
Okay.
Easy to
So
follow.
to close the show, we got merch for sale and a portion of the proceeds go to buying Found the Balance books for high school student athletes at underserved high schools. If you go to ckasaveproject.itemorder.com, the sale goes on till September 22nd. And again, help us out. Super producer Kelly's going to drop it on the screen. So headed into week 1, is there any game or 2 you're totally interested in, Will, as we wrap up the show?
None that I want to watch, but I'm gonna drop some money on which I'm gonna call Utah versus Florida. Florida is done. I'm gonna definitely take it. I might even take an alternative. I might take an alternative spread to take 2 touchdowns. They're done. They're done.
Well,
But
follow us on social media. I'll try to remember to post before noon because I forgot to, and you'll see on my posting on social media. Whoops, I'm rusty too. So again, it's strictly for entertainment purposes only. Have some fun with it. Fun. So on behalf of my Captain for Life, Will Cotton, and our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the iCoaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA SAVE Project. The CKA SAVE Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA SAVE Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at oddcoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA SAVE Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA SAVE Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches podcast.